Hello everyone, welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today we are going to be focusing on another head coaching vacancy. This time it's going to be the New York Jets. Once again, we already did the Houston Texans and Atlanta Falcons. If you guys haven't checked those ones out already, be sure to go back and look at them as well. But today's focus is going to be on the New York Jets. So the biggest news here was Robert Saleh did have a second interview in person. And the news is that he did interview with the Eagles after this interview as well. We'll see if anybody else comes in for a second interview with the Jets. These are the names of the candidates for the Jets head coaching vacancy at this time. So we're going to start out with Matt Eberflus. He's currently the defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, and he's been for a couple of years now. He's done a real good job there. He is 50 years old. He started off his coaching career at Toledo as a graduate assistant, then an outside linebacker coach. He was there from 1992 to 2000. Went on to Missouri from 2001 to 2008 as the defensive coordinator. With the Browns in 2009 and 2010 as a linebacker coach. He was with the Cowboys from 2011 to 2017 as their linebacker coach as well. And the defensive coordinator for the Colts from 2018 to our current time. So I think he's a guy that, he's got a lot of experience, defensive background. I think he'd actually be a pretty good fit for the Jets. He's a guy I could really see them hiring. Then next up we have Eric Bieniemy, who we already talked a little bit about. Definitely one of the hottest names out there. We'll go over him real quick once again. 51 years old, former NFL running back. He started out his coaching career at Colorado as the running back coach 2001-2002. Went on to UCLA from 2003 to 2005 as the running back coach. With the Vikings as a running back coach as well, 2006 to 2010. Back to Colorado as offensive coordinator 2011-2012. Then went to the Chiefs as their running back coach from 2013 to 2017. And then he's been the Chiefs offensive coordinator since 2018. So he's definitely a guy that's going to be a hot name overall. I don't think he ends up going to the Jets. Doesn't seem like the right fit for me, but I would understand it if it did happen. Next up is the Bills offensive coordinator, Brian Dable. And this is probably one of the guys that I think has the best chance at landing this job. So we'll go over Brian Dable real quick. He is 45 years old. He started off his coaching career at William & Mary in 1997. The position was a restrictive earnings coach, so I think that means like a graduate assistant, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. Then he went on to Michigan State 1998-1999, graduate assistant. With the Patriots from 2000 to 2006, defensive assistant, and then he went on to become the wide receiver coach. With the Jets from 2007 to 2008 as a quarterback coach, so you got a little bit of that Jets connection there. He was with the Browns as their offensive coordinator from 2009-2010. Dolphins offensive coordinator in 2011. Then he was the Chiefs offensive coordinator. Then he was with the Patriots from 2013 to 2016 as an offensive assistant and tight end coach. He was with Alabama in 2017 as the co-offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, and the Bills offensive coordinator from 2018 to present. So he's a guy that's been around to a lot of different places, got a lot of different experience. He's a guy that's done wonders with Josh Allen, as you guys all well know at this point in time. So he's definitely a guy that I would consider here. He's got that experience with the Jets before. He is kind of a New York native. He's actually born in Canada, but he grew up in Rochester, New York. So there is a little bit of a connection there as well. Then we have Robert Saleh, who we talked about already as well. But the quick rundown on him once again. 41 years young. Started off at Michigan State as a graduate assistant in 2002-2003. Central Michigan defensive assistant in 2004. Defensive assistant with Georgia in 2005. He was with the Texans from 2006 to 2010 as a defensive intern, quality control coach, assistant linebacker coach. Then he was with the Seahawks from 2011 to 2013 as a defensive quality control coach. Jaguars 2014 to 2016 as a linebacker coach. 49ers from 2017 to present as their defensive coordinator. He's got a good experience for his young age as well, and he's a very quality candidate. I just don't see him going to the Jets, even though he had that second interview already. Then we got Marvin Lewis, who we talked about with the Texans as well. Obviously, Marvin Lewis is most well known for being the coach of the Bengals, but he is 62 years old. Started off his coaching career at Idaho State as a linebacker coach. He was there from 1981 to 1984. Long Beach State, 1985 and 1986 as their linebacker coach. New Mexico from 1987 to 1989 as their linebacker coach as well. Pittsburgh, 1990 and 1991 as their linebacker coach. With the Steelers from 92 to 95 as their linebacker coach. Ravens defensive coordinator from 1996 to 2001. And then he was with the Redskins for 1 year in 2002 as the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator. Obviously, what he's best known for, Cincinnati Bengals. He was there from 2003 to 2018 as their head coach, and then spent some time at Arizona State helping out his buddy Herm Edwards the last 2 years. Then we move on to Joe Brady, who we already kind of talked about quite a bit. He's interviewed for pretty much all the spots that are available. I don't think it's going to be here with the Jets. Sounds like he's going to be with the Falcons head coach, but until he signs with somebody, we're not going to rule him out for any job. But once again, he is 31 years young. William & Mary, 2013, the 2014 linebacker coach. Penn State, 2015-2016 as a graduate assistant. Then he was with the Saints, 2017 to 2018 as an offensive assistant. Then obviously, probably what he's best known for, LSU, passing game coordinator, wide receiver coach in 2019, helping Joe Burrow out there. And most recently this year with the Carolina Panthers as their offensive coordinator. He'd definitely be a good candidate here. It wouldn't be the worst fit in the world, honestly, but it sounds like he's going to go to Atlanta, so rule him out just a little bit there. Next up is Brandon Staley, who I actually thought would get a little bit more interest in this group, especially after what that Rams defense has been able to do this year under his, leadership. But he is 38 years old. He started out his coaching career at Northern Illinois as a graduate assistant, 2006 to 2008. Then he went to St. Thomas, Minnesota in 2009 as a defensive line coach / special teams coach. Then he moved on to Hutchinson Community College, 2010-2011, assistant head coach and defensive coordinator there. He went to John Carroll University in 2013 as the defensive coordinator, defensive back coach. James Madison in 2014 as defensive coordinator and a linebacker coach. And then back to John Carroll, 2015-2016 as defensive coordinator, defensive back coach once again. Then he was with the Bears from 2017-2018 as their outside linebacker coach. Moved over with Vic Fangio to Denver for the same position in 2019 and the Rams defensive coordinator in 2020 to present. He's kind of been all over the place. He's got a lot of experience, especially on the defensive side of the ball. He's a guy that could come in and probably help this team quite a bit. So I would definitely not rule him out for this job. Patrick Graham was another one, defensive coordinator for the Giants, but he declined the request for an interview, so we're not going to go into him, especially since he didn't interview with any other teams besides them. Then we have the Saints secondary coach, Aaron Glenn. So I brought up Aaron Glenn's Wikipedia page too, just so we can see his coaching career. Obviously, he was a pretty good player. He played from 1994 to 2008. Obviously, he has the connection with the Jets because he played there for 8 years as a cornerback. He was the assistant defensive backs coach for Cleveland in 2014 and 2015, and then he's been with the Saints as their defensive back coach from 2016 to present. Obviously, he's kind of a guy that doesn't have as much coaching experience, especially as a coordinator or anything like that. Can't completely rule him out because of his connection to the Jets. He's a guy that I think probably would make a good defensive coordinator. Kind of like what I talked about in the Falcons video. I think wherever Joe Brady goes as head coach, he could end up being the defensive coordinator there. So he's not really a guy I'm looking at in this position. And then last but not least, we got Arthur Smith, who we talked about quite a bit already. But we'll go over him real quick once again. He is 38 years old. Started off his coaching career at North Carolina, 2006 as a graduate assistant. Then he was with the Redskins 2007-2008 as defensive quality assistant. Ole Miss in 2010 as a defensive intern and administrative assistant. Then he's been with the Titans since 2011. Started off as a quality control coach for offense and defense, offensive line coach, tight end coach, and then most recently the offensive coordinator for the past 2 seasons. Like I said, he's kind of a guy that I think's a couple years away from being a head coach still, so I don't think he's really going to be the guy. But those are the candidates that are available. In my mind, I think it's probably between Matt Eberflus, Brian Dable, and maybe Brandon Staley at this point in time. Those would be my 3 candidates. I think Brian Dable is probably the best guy for the job if they want to go in the direction of a head coach that has more experience on offense. It is kind of important to note that he has a little bit of experience on defense as well in his early coaching days, but definitely a good candidate there. If they're going to go defense, I think probably Matt Eberflus or Brandon Staley would be the guy. But with that being said, they have a great list of candidates here. I'm really interested to hear who you guys think is going to be the next head coach for the New York Jets. If you're a Jets fan, be sure to shout it out when you mention who you think is going to be the coach as well. Say, hey, I'm a Jets fan. I think our next head coach is going to be Brian Dable. Or our next head coach is going to be Matt Eberflus. Or it's going to be Brandon Staley. Or Arthur Smith or Robert Saleh. Just let me know who you guys are looking for, who you think is going to be there, and then maybe if you even want to dig it a little bit deeper, who you think they're going to bring in as offensive defensive coordinator underneath that coach as well. It's obviously a fun game to guess and try to predict all this, but we're really going to find out over the next week or two who's going to be the next head coach for that New York Jets team. And they had 2 wins this year. They really need a new coach to kind of come in, build the culture, build up the team overall. But with that being said, if you guys liked and enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you guys are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. It helps build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports. And that's really one for you, the viewers. Helping you guys with your fantasy football teams, talking about fantasy football, talking about all the football news that's out there. We're going to be doing a lot of that during the off season. As we get closer to baseball season, I'll be doing some baseball content as well. So if you guys are interested in fantasy baseball or baseball news in general, be sure to let me know that as well. And be sure to check that out too. But with that being said, if you are a new or current subscriber who's yet to do so, also hit that notification bell down below. It lets you know every single time I post up a new video. And with that being said, tomorrow's video is going to be DFS. We're going to be looking at the Saturday slate, kind of building a roster from there over on DraftKings. Hopefully you guys all enjoy that one as well. Be sure to check it out. But with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Once again, be sure to let me know who you think the next head coach of the New York Jets is going to be, and have a great rest of your day.